Alright guys, let's talk about monsters. I want to know about the one that made its way out of your TV. You're going through old storage in your obviously cursed basement when you come across a tape. And lucky for you, you have a TV that's old enough to be able to actually handle it. As soon as it's pushed in, the TV springs to life. But unlucky for you, all there seems to be is static on that tape. You lean your head back against the screen, annoyed by the lack of intrigue. And that's when you notice the static charge itself pulling at the back strands of your hair, both figuratively and literally. Just as you go to pull away, you notice just the very hint of a hand. And though there is definitely static electricity emanating from here, it might not be the only thing that was playing with your hair. You go to turn off your TV, but you realize that you can't. And as you look back up, you realize there's now something staring at you, with zeros and ones for eyes. As a hand slowly reaches back out to touch you, what do? Give me the goods. Alright, let's talk about monsters. Today, I want to know about some, mad science. On this particular day, we have a mad scientist who's not simply mad in the head, but also just upset. Very upset, visibly distressed. Why, you might ask? Well, that is for you yourself to answer. But on this particular day, they want to get rid of their upset demeanor. Keep the madness, though. So they hook themselves up to one of these bad boys, along with a handy-dandy emotion-altering contraption, or perhaps it's a memory-altering contraption. Depends on the trauma. Regardless, they use the city's power source in order to get to what they need, a little bit of joy in their lives. So as they hoist themselves up and tell their Igor equivalent to pull the lever, a fatal error or side effect is made that now gives the power of said mad scientist to control the emotions of those around them via their electronics. Do they use this for good or for evil? Would they go on a bank heist spree, just making everyone very, very happy? Would they go to the prisons and free their long-lost love? Would they smite their enemies with sadness? And would they ever feel remorse, for it was their sadness that drove them to this particular madness? Their anger, angst, and anguish that made them into a literal emotional nuclear bomb. I mean, it's certainly one way to weaponize emotions. Do they make themselves a serotonin-craving army? Diabolically dopamine-fueled dickheads to just go around and wreak havoc? Adrenaline junkie assassins? Are the people grateful or hateful of their actions? And the power obviously goes to their head. How does it affect their own emotions? Can they turn them off and on at will? Does it make each one unbearably acute? Can they literally shape themselves into anybody through the act of changing the way that they handle various stimulus emotionally? Is there a fear that the emotional chemistry that they might have with anybody is simply electrical in nature? Do they feel like getting rid of their original cause for suffering was worth all of this? And if they could, would they ever give this power back? You know the drill. Give me the goods. Alright guys, let's talk about monsters. I want to know about the cop that didn't make it. They were called in as a strange noise kept being heard from someone's apartment. A small town is one of the last ones on their shift. They figured that they could take it alone. Days later, they wake up with dirt filling in their nose and mouth, worms crawling over skin doing their very best to penetrate. Their scream comes out muddy as they dig any way that they could think of might be up. And finally, they break the earth and find themselves forward in another realm, altered beyond recognition themselves. There's still too much dirt in their mouth to scream properly as a creature comes by, offering their hand to help them out, explaining that this poor, poor policeman now belongs to the other world, just as every other distorted figure from every other possible dimension is whenever they arrive here. Welcome to the club, buckaroo. Where the hell did they end up, and how on earth are they altered? I want to know. Please tell me. Give me the goods. Script, let's talk about monsters. I want to know about the one you've known all your life. The one that you've trusted. The one that read you stories to bed and filled your head with all kinds of thoughts. But in the end tried to sacrifice you to their god. I want to know how they sleep at night. And no, I'm not bitter. How you escaped. How you tried to make a life for yourself afterwards. How it changed you. How much of you died when you finally knew the truth. How much of you was finally free to actually do what you wanted? Do those memories still haunt you? Even the good ones? How much do they blame you for their life not being what they wanted it to be? What did they do to try and get you back? Did it work? Give me the goods.
Guys, let's talk about monsters. You're a borrower just minding your own business when you see a shiny thing that you really, really like, and you know you're going to take really good care of it, so you're going to get it. You're going to get the thing, but no, because the giant freaking finds you, and they pick you up, and they're like, what the hell are you doing, boy? And then they toss you out a fucking window. And you don't even have time to barter or explain. You're just like, I'm gonna be so good, I was gonna take care of it, I'm sorry. And then you just, thud. Oh well, off to the next thing. May you find the shiny you deserve, little one. And may all the giants that you find be so kind. Because honestly, that could have gone so much worse. It's not easy being little. You find your goods!
Alright guys, let's talk about monsters. I want to know about the one you shot out back. The one you put out of its misery. The one that used to be your friend but got corrupted in some way. Was it a bite? An infection? A curse? What happened as they slowly changed before your eyes? How did they first feel in this entire situation? Did they tell the rest of you right away, or did they wait? Sign show before they could tell. How much time did you all take searching for an antidote? And at what point did death creep up onto the table for discussion? Was it them or you who suggested it? Are they the type of person to sacrifice themselves for the greater good? Are they a coward that fears the agony and aftermath of transformation? Or the coward that fears death and doesn't want to die? Did you already have to watch your back around them before this even began? Or does their mind begin to distort as a result of the corruption? At what point in the transformational process do you shoot them? And how do you sleep at night? Give me the goods. Alright guys, let's talk about monsters. I want to know about the spirits of the wood. Is there a social hierarchy? Do mud spirits who trap the travelers get chastised by fairer folk who just want to play games? Ravens ridden by small sprites hopping along the forest floor or flying through the treetops? Mini mermaids traversing through the sweet flow of streams? Pixies panicking as one of their friends gets caught in a snare for rabbits? We got any ants in this wood? Does the unseelie court still use these grounds to hunt humans for sport? Is that toadstool a toadstool, or is it a toadstool from Super Mario? Which ones can use the human language, and what languages? Who is scared of who? Who is fascinated by who? If you ever got to meet any of these folk, who would be more or less intrigued? You by their magic, or them by your technology? What do you do with each other? Give me the goods.
Let's talk about monsters. Tell me about the fool. I want to know why they're foolish. I want to know what made them decide to go on this journey. What naive passion brought them to this manic state? What burden befuddled them? And whether or not they continued on anyway. If passion is a form of magic, they must possess plenty. Especially for them to have gone so far out of their comfort zone on a whim. How does the world see them versus how they see themselves? Does their intuition always steer them true? Is that their superpower? Do they lose their naivety in exchange for what they truly desire? And is that what truly changes them to be what they are now? Was it worth it? Are they happy? Or are they just going to keep moving from project to project to project, place to place to place, until they lose their humanity entirely, all to their whims? Certainly a couple questions to wonder for a fool like yourself. Give me the goods.
Alright, let's talk about monsters. I want to know about the one that you're losing sleep to. Starts with a scratch on the window, and then another, and another. You look to check, but obviously it's only darkness outside. You think maybe it's the wind rustling the trees. That is, until you hear the howling. Wild animal, maybe? You go to open the window to get a better peek, which was obviously a mistake, because on closer look, you see two bright yellow eyes staring right back at you. Teeth gnashed and bright in a painful way. And you look. Slightly above the moon overhead hangs in full light. Too shocked to scream. But then, you hear your name. Crackled low like a growl coming straight out of that teeth. And you realize that the eyes are crying. Thinking to yourself, you never heard your roommate come back in. The creature scratches again at the window.
Let's talk about monsters. Okay, so you know the idea of like ancient aliens, right? There are some theories that they're still here, but at the bottom of the ocean, since only 7% of the ocean has actually been explored, which leaves like 93% of the ocean to free reign. But I had a thought. So you know mermaids, right? What if mermaids were actually ancient aliens? And they communicate vibrationally on and off the spectrum of human hearing. And neurologically, different frequencies will mesmerize people. I want to know what their ship is like. How did they get here? Because air compression is a real thing that exists. And water compression, well, there's not a lot of space between the water molecules, so could they be anaerobic or aerobic organisms? Would they be thriving on CO2 or oxygen? How do they deal with the bends? Like, what is their microbiology? Did their top halves evolve to look more like us for the sake of survival? We start looking like them so they'd have compassion for us out at sea. The world building! The goods!
Okay, let's talk about monsters. You're a bioscientist researching and looking for new species in an undisclosed location. When you get to this beautiful waterfall in what appears to be the ruins of an old city, and at the very center you discover this towering monument of a humanoid-esque creature staring down at you, carved in what appears to be stone. Utterly fascinated, you take out your pen and paper, you draw, you take pictures, you do some research, you look around the city. You notice, as you turn back, wasn't the statue kneeling before? You look back at your notes and, yes, it was kneeling. When you look back up, you realize that it's now staring inches from your face. You stumble backwards from the overgrown stone and watch helpless as it shifts to tower over you on all fours. Well, kiddo, it looks like you found your new species. What happens next? Give me the goods. Guys, let's talk about monsters. You've been gifted what appears to be 5 duck eggs, and now you're waiting for them to hatch. And one by one they do, albeit all gangly and gross the way that all newborn things are. And upon cleaning up all the eggshell remains, you notice that in one particular set of shells, the inner lining is blue. It's weird, but you chalk it up to a discoloration and let it go. It's about 2 weeks in before things start getting interesting. As the little ducklings get their feathers in, you notice that one in particular has a blue sheen to it, almost like that one dress that no one could figure out was gold or blue. Your brain gets serotonin from the idea that there's shiny Pokemon in real life. But as the bird gets older, there are more and more differences that reveal themselves from that duck compared to all the others. For one, when caught at the right angle, the feathers are as sharp as knives. 2, their tongue teeth on their tongue, are so pronounced they look like ribs. For 3, they just ate one of your other ducks. Let me know.
Guys, let's talk about monsters. I want to know about your secret Penpal under the door. Your house is one with a very, very odd layout, and there's one particular door in it that's extra strange. See, when you open it, it's literally bricks. When you first moved in, the dotty old lady who lived in here before tells you that if you knock on the door, you'll hear a knock back. After a few weeks, you remember this little tidbit of information and decide to try it out. You make your knock. Just as you're about to leave, you hear it back. But you swing open the door, back to the bricks, close it, try it again, get spooked, and then promptly sleep in the room furthest away from it. However, curiosity just keeps on nattering at your head, so you devise a plan. You write a note, and with that note, you slide it under the door.
The response is what the?
Alright, let's talk about monsters. I want one that knows how to serenade. A siren in the sea, a harpy in the air, a werewolf barista who sang on a dare. Me, a werewolf barista that has a secret garage band. They invite you to their concert without realizing that it's on a full moon. And then they transform in front of everybody, and it's horrifying and beautiful, and you can't stop looking at them. As everyone else is like running away, screaming. You're the only one left in the audience like, yeah, I can do this. I can definitely do this. And then you do! In more ways than one. Naughty boy. Fuck. How's that for your slice of life? Give me the goods. In more ways than one.
Guys, let's talk about monsters. You're a bard traveling along with your party, infiltrating a cultist's camp. You overhear the rhythmic, melodic chanting and realize, you know this song. This song was from your childhood. You guys used to play on the playground with this song. You know, like those kids' songs like about the bubonic plague and stuff? Like the ashes, ashes will all fall down. It's like one of those. But it's also a call and response type, but you're not hearing any of the response type, and you know, you're a bard. You have to do the thing. As your party continues to infiltrate through the camp without realizing that you've kind of lingered behind, you start singing the responses to yourself softly. The thing that none of you realize is that this entire area is just one giant summoning circle. The vessel they'd chosen to start singing the response part hadn't yet. Now as your voice grows louder without your control, your party looks back to see your eyes shift to white. Just couldn't help yourself, could you?